everywhere you go, you need to find deltas. They're the best people in the house. I'm just saying, right? Got the Children at Risk crowd here. Change happens. Got some great partners here today. I'm Bob Sanborn, President and CEO of Children at Risk. We have a lot of legislators going to join us. We're going to try to do this. If they join us, fine. If not, we are going to hold them to the pledge that equity for all children, equity now for all children. Right now, across the state of Texas, we have close to a little over 7 million children in our state. And we hear from our legislators that children are the future and how children are important and how the driving force of the economy are our children. And yet, when we look at what's going on legislatively for our children, we know that there's a lot left wanting. Of the over 7 million children, over 70% are children of color. And I think that's hard for people to grasp sometimes, but we have young families, especially young Latino families in our state, and we have a lot of young kids, over 70%. 10% of all the children born in America, born right here in the state of Texas. So this is the future of America, and we need to do right by our children. We need to have equity for all our kids. And when we talk about equity, we talk about all types of equity. But one of the things that we also understand is that when we look at that 70%, there's 64% of the children in the state of Texas live below a livable wage. These are kids that are living in economically disadvantaged households. We know that about 500,000 children in our state live in a family of 4 with less than a salary of $10,000 a year. These are kids that are living in extreme poverty. We need equity for those kids. When we talk about education, yesterday we released the big school rankings across the state of Texas, and what was very clear is when you look at this is that 70% of children of color are not necessarily being treated, they are not being treated equally when it comes to equity in education, because we see too many schools that serve black and brown kids that are rated D and F. And that starts early. That starts with the state not funding our schools accordingly. That starts with the state not funding early education so kids can get a head start. That starts with us having these child care deserts and the state not paying enough attention to the child care deserts to give these kids the equity that they so deserve so that they can go to public schools and so that they can excel. When we talk about health, we don't see equity at all. We see down in the valley where there are kids, the numbers of kids that don't have mental health professionals, the number of kids that don't have access to a doctor, it's enormous. When we look across the state, we are 51 out of 51 in terms of mental health access in our state, and that's just wrong. This is why we need equity now. When we look at school discipline, there's absolutely no equity there. When we see little kids, little black kids, little brown kids that are taken away in handcuffs, what the heck are they thinking? We need equity now. All across the board, whether you're looking at safety, whether you're looking at our schools, early education, or health, there's so much data that shows that we are not doing the right thing by our kids. And so it's time for our state legislature, for all of them, to say, yes, families are important, yes, kids are important, and we're going to do our darndest. We have $30 billion extra. Why don't we think about families? Why don't we think about the future? I know we're all going to be hard-pressed to see that happen, but it doesn't mean we can't stop pushing. We can't stop pushing for equity now. I want to hear equity for children.
Equity for children.
Equity for children.
Equity for children.
That's what we want right now. Thank you very much. Let me introduce Sharon Jones. Sharon is the Chief Equity Officer at Children at Risk and the Executive Director of the Texas Racial Equity Collaborative. Sharon Jones.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. Dr. Bob has laid out the facts. Equity is not just a moral imperative, but in the state of Texas, it is an economic imperative. The facts are what they are, and there are things that we can ask our lawmakers to do immediately to bring about more equity for children in Texas. The first is to reestablish the Office of Minority Health Statistics and Engagement. As you know, the report on maternal mortality was released late in December. The numbers are staggering. We have to do something about it, but first we have to make the case by providing the data and counting. The second thing we can do is to pass the Texas Crown Act to eliminate hair discrimination for our students. There are cases where children are not being allowed to graduate because they have braids or dreadlocks. They're not being allowed to participate in extracurricular activities. They're being removed from an academic setting. State Representative Bowers will speak in a moment on her efforts to pass the Crown Act and what we can do to help her. We can also measure disparities in education, health, and human services through the sunset process. We are asking our lawmakers to add a measure of equity to the sunset process for Health and Human Services Commission and for TEA. We can also define, categorize, and report chronic absenteeism so that we can make the effort to help those students that are at risk of dropping out. We can also increase access to early quality childhood education to eliminate those child care deserts. And finally, we can encourage the use of the Elementary Secondary School Emergency Relief, or the ESSER funds, to increase equitable access to mental health services for our youth. You came because I called, and I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. As you know, we are releasing today the report, A State of Inequity, Dreams Deferred. That report details all the data that's presented here and the recommendations, and we encourage you to take copies of the executive summary, which we will provide, and share that report with state lawmakers so that they can help us make a difference and bring equity about for children. I want to bring to you now Representative Rhetta Bowers.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you, Sharon. I am State Representative Rhetta Andrews Bowers. I represent House District 113 in far northeast Dallas County. I'm homegrown and a native Houstonian, but I proudly represented Dallas. And we introduced the Crown Act in the 87th legislative session, which was House Bill at the time 392. We have refiled it, and it is now House Bill 567. And this is just one way that we get true equity, that we stand for our children. Children are a part of it, but the Crown Act encompasses men, women, and children. I think they felt like last session we were heavy on women when it came to hair and hair discrimination. But this does affect our children. Some of you may have heard, and I hope more than some, but may have heard of DeAndre Arnold outside of Houston in Barbers Hill ISD that was not going to be able to walk the stage and graduate. We have not stopped advocating for the Crown Act, even as it died during last session. It was still alive and well in that Harris County passed the Crown Act, their version of the Crown Act, before we left the regular session. The city of Austin, I think I saw Jerry Brooks out here. I don't know if she's still here, but they fought really hard here in the city of Austin to make sure their version of the Crown Act was passed. We now have, the city of Mesquite is working on a version. We're working with the city of Dallas, Dallas County, Waller County, and many more that are coming forth in the state of Texas to make sure hair discrimination is no more. It is, I think some of you, I mentioned a lot of times, saw me with transformational change myself. I came into the Texas legislature very, not died, but fried and relaxed. I was truly not relaxed in a sense of chilling on the side, hanging out, but my hair was totally bone straight and relaxed. I have once again embraced my curl pattern and present myself as naturally as I possibly can every day. My daughter gave me the best compliment on opening day and said, "Mama, thank you for not straightening your hair and presenting yourself on this special day as you are." And that is the way all of our children should be able to come to the table. So I will continue to fight for House Bill 567. I ask you to join me in that. I know that many of you out here, my Saras, the Delta Sigma Theta, I see the Alphas out here too, and many of you that work with children at risk. You know, last session, we broke quorum and we knew that our democracy was on the line, where our children certainly were on the line when it came to equity. So we stand up firm. We just left a press conference on diversity, equity, and inclusion.
I
We are fighting at all levels to make sure our children are seen, they're heard, and they're welcomed and accepted at every table and at every phase and stage of their lives. So thank you for standing here. Thank you for inviting me out. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share. And I ask you to join us in pushing House Bill 567 and making Texas the 21st state to pass the Crown Act. We can do this, and I know we will. Minnesota just passed it, and it was just signed into law. And there are many states just like Texas that are considered red, because we know we're not truly a red state. We're just a non-voting state. So there are many states that have done it, and Texas surely can. Thank you again.
Representative Bowers, thank you very, very much. Thanks for representing North Texas. Thank you for being here for Equity for Children. Thank you so much. Let's hear for Representative Bowers and say Equity for Children.
Equity for children.
Very good. Let's go to our good partners over at Target Hunger. Ms. Ryan is here. Is that right? All right, come on up.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Bob. Thank you, Children at Risk. I'd rather see a sermon than hear one any day. I'd rather you walk with me than merely show the way. The eye is a more ready pupil than ever was the ear. Good advice is often confusing, but a good example is always clear. Thank you to Children at Risk. Thank you to our partners. The importance of children and just having basic needs. I am here to represent Target Hunger as their chairwoman. I can tell you how critically important this is because you can't concentrate to learn if you're hungry. The public schools in the service area that we serve, they qualify for the Title I free and reduced price school nutrition program. We offer during the summer breakfast and lunch to help supplement these families. We talked about voting. We talked about showing up. Thank you for being that good example. I'd rather see a sermon than hear one any day. I'd rather you walk with me than merely show the way. The eye is a more ready pupil than ever was the ear. Good advice is often confusing, but a good example is always clear. Thank you all for being an example for us today.
We love hearing from Target Hunger. So many people don't look at equity as a hunger issue, yet all across the state of Texas, we know it exactly is a hunger issue in many, many ways, right?
I want to introduce the president of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, Houston Metropolitan Chapter.
Good morning, all. My name is Janelle Berry, and I am the chapter president of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, Houston Metropolitan Chapter. I stand in camaraderie with Children at Risk. Our organization is for Black girls. There is a disparity going on in the school systems where our Black girls cannot be who they want to be. If they're allowed, they're seen as troublemakers. So our organization is here standing with Children at Risk because our children, our Black and brown girls are at risk. So I thank you for the work that y'all are doing and appreciate everything. Thank you.
Equity for children.
Equity for children.
Equity for children.
Equity for children.
Thank you guys very much. Big press conference going on inside around DEI, and we thank Representative Bowers for coming out here. Apparently those guys are still talking. You know how that works, right? So we thank them as well for their support. I know that all of you will go around the Capitol today. We have these State of Inequity Dreams Deferred sheets for you guys to bring around, and we want you to do that and visit with them. Even if you go into these offices and just drop off and just say, we're here for equity for children. We want all children in Texas to have an equal opportunity at success. It's not happening right now. It's pretty clear as day. The evidence and the data points that way. We need to do more. And as someone mentioned up here, we need to vote. I mean, that's so important. We need to vote. All of us need to vote because Texas is a non-voting state, right? So thank you all very, very much. Equity for children.
Equity for children.
Caucus with some of our allies, and I want to thank you, Sharon, for being there in solidarity, and other members of your organization, including some Deltas, and my esteemed colleague, Representative Rhetta Andrews-Bowers. We were speaking out against Governor Abbott's position on DEI, but I want to thank you all for being here at your Capitol to advocate for issues regarding children. It's a precious time in our state with so many challenges and so many obstacles that children face when it comes to equity, when it comes to bullying, when it comes to mental health, when it comes to gun violence. And I'm so proud that you all are here advocating and bringing light to this and these issues. This is a pivotal session. Obviously, we have a tremendous surplus in funding, over $33 billion, and plus over $11 billion in our state's rainy day fund. So we need to prioritize children in this state. We need to prioritize that. We need to make sure that we're fully funding our public schools. We need to make sure that we're doing everything so that our children can compete in a global economy. They feel safe, that they feel secure, that Texas is a great state. I love this state, but I don't think we're doing enough for our future leaders. And so I'm proud to be here today just to stand in solidarity with each and every one of you and to thank you for traveling all across the state. You're the boss of someone and you have the power, the unique power to hire and fire. There are no term limits in Texas, but you know what I tell everyone? Every election is a term limit because you hold the power. You're the key to good government. I tell people all the time, if you want good government, then you vote. You vote your values. If you believe that education should be a priority, then you vote education. If you believe that healthcare should be a priority, then you vote healthcare. If you believe that criminal justice reform, quality of life, climate change is real, that we should have a sustainable grid. If you believe in so many issues, then you vote those values. And I just want to commend you, all of these people that I see. Look at the diversity. I am so encouraged. And I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you. I'm looking forward to my colleagues being introduced to you and your legislative priorities. And I'm looking forward to Representative Bowers making sure that we speak truth to power, that we educate our colleagues on the importance of having equity for our children and that we make our children a priority. So thank you so much for being here at your Capitol. This is a great day. I was concerned about the weather, but look, God is shining on us. We're out here, and we are going to make today count. It's Valentine's Day, and I feel the love all around here. So thank you all so much. And anything that our caucus can do, we're already working closely with Sharon. Anything that we can do, our colleagues, then I pledge that to you because your values are our values. She shared with me the things that you all are advocating for, and we are 100% aligned. So I look forward to supporting everything. This is a great session in terms of our budget, in terms of great times. Our committees are just about to start meeting. We just got committee assignments. So you all are here at the right time. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Thank you.